At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized, so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 300 programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
You're listening to a special episode of Around the Galaxy, featuring audio from our weekly live show, ATGLive. We go live every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/@the-SSW Network. Join the conversation, be part of the chat, and may the Force be with you. Roger, Roger.
Lightsabers hum, they light up the night. Pete and Nick keep the galaxy bright. From Tatooine sands to Andor trees, they're bringing the news with galactic ease. ATGLive, we're blasting away, talking Star Wars every Thursday. Interviews, opinions, and all the lore. Hop on the Falcon, they're opening the door. From Vader's breath to Grogu's charms, theories and chats, they keep us disarmed. Around the galaxy tonight, Chris and Kelsey keeping it tight. They're breaking news like a Death Star blast, taking your calls and reading your chats. The greatest guests and what you need to know. Pete and Nick lead the Star Wars show. ATGLive, we're blasting away, talking Star Wars every Thursday. Interviews, opinions, and all the lore. Hop on the Falcon, they're opening the door.
Well, welcome. I was like, yay. Welcome to ATGLive, your Thursday night home for all things Star Wars. I'm one of your hosts, Pete Fletcher, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host and good friend, Nick Milkey. Nick, what is going on? Man, do you have thunderstorms there today? Or
we're in this mode where the state of Alabama was in drought conditions literally for like the last 6 or 7 months. And here, with the amount of rain we've gotten in the last 2 weeks, we are fully no longer in drought conditions. So welcome to ATGLive, where we do old man things like talk about rain and the weather. And
my joints are stiff.
Yeah, exactly. Get these kids off my lawn. No, we're not currently in storms, but we had rain this afternoon, and it's kind of one of those summer afternoon rainstorm situations. But it's not raining inside in my studio, and that means it's a great Thursday night to hang out with some friends and talk about some very fun Star Wars things.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm wearing my Phillies hat. I got Clanker wearing his Phillies hat because you shouldn't be so excited to beat the Marlins, but we did it. And just before I came on, I was watching the game, and the Braves, I do have to thank the Braves for beating the Mets yesterday, because it's helping the Phillies get the first place that we need. I'll give up a couple on those. So that's fine. But for those of you keeping score at home, we do have a baseball bet. It's me and Nick. I got the Phils, he's got the Braves, and we have Kelsey, who's got Detroit, who's probably still in the lead. But I can't see them.
All those Tigers, man.
I just can't see that happening. I know. Yes, Kelsey?
Number one, we're going to kick all of your asses. It's fine.
Okay, all right.
Also, I can't even believe we already started off with like old man weather talk. I'm like, what are we doing tonight? Like, what are we doing?
Well, pretty soon we're going to be talking about this, just the retirement accounts and finances in the Star Wars world. So,
it sounds like
it's going to be so
show.
much.
I can't wait.
This one's going to be
thrilling. That's
one
right.
to remember. So, all right, goodbye. Okay. So what else we got going on? Who's on the show tonight?
So in my best David Letterman, if I were to tap my pen on the microphone, I would say, do you like rock and roll, kids? Because we've got a big show tonight. We have a really fun band called the Threepios, and we have two members of that band, Patrick and Savannah, are going to join us, and they're going to talk about the really fun Star Wars music that they make and being a band and being Star Wars fans. You and I are both band guys. We are both bass players. So this is right in our wheelhouse. This is something that, you and I love. So I am very excited to welcome here in just a short little bit. We're going to welcome in the Threepios to talk about their Star Wars journey.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I've been checking them out on the interweb. So we're keeping these old man vibes. You can't buy cassettes anymore. I don't know if you're aware of that. You have to go to the Spotify and listen to the music. Geez, we're losing people quickly here. But we are pretty cool because we do have all the website and website. Kelsey's laughing because I said we're pretty cool. We have a website where you can buy our merch. You can keep if you go to the sswnetwork.com, you'll see the URL right below there. Go over there and you'll be able to buy some merch. We have some cool t-shirts. We just released I have Weird Space Friends Everywhere shirt and stickers and mug. I'm gonna get the mug. I gotta get the mug for the drinks. And so we also have you can follow us on all the social media at the SSW Network. We're on Twitter, and we're on the all of them. Even believe it or not, TikTok, which is freaking hilarious because it's Nick doing dances to all his favorite songs. I think we got to move that. We got to make that happen a little bit more. Also, you can join our Patreon program for as little as $3 a month. You can have early access to interviews and shows. You get swag. We are working on our next swag pack, which is going to be going out the door pretty soon. You can join us for some of our interviews. We have certain opportunities sometimes, and Nick and I are working on a patron happy hour sometime pretty soon. So, that's nice. Thank you, Payne. Appreciate that. So, Nick, what else? Am I forgetting stuff? I'm forgetting like voicemail.
The only other big thing is this is a you involved show and not you, Pete. You, the watcher, listener, anybody who is hanging out with us now. If you're listening to the podcast replay, because we've started dropping this into the podcast feed, the live show, we want you to be involved. We've got the live chat going. We've got folks hanging out tonight. We know some more will be coming in as we go throughout the evening. We also have right here above my silly face, we have our voicemail number, 504-321-1501. If you give that call literally anytime, day or night, Star Wars thoughts, crazy theories, reasons you think we're bad at this, whatever it is that you want to call and leave on that voicemail, we'll talk about it. We don't have any shame because we're here to have fun. We're here to have a good time. And so we have a voicemail line because we want people to be involved in the show. Like I said, leaving your chats. Some weeks we throw the link in the chat for people to call in. I don't know that tonight's going to be one of those nights. Sorry, Eric, if you're watching. But this is a show, and we do what we would be doing this if none of you were here watching because we just love Star Wars and hanging out. But it's better when we've got our viewers and our listeners involved. So check out the voicemail, give us a call, leave us a message. We always love to hear from all of you.
Absolutely. And I do want to just mention one more time, this will probably be the last time I push it, but we did a 7-part series covering Andor season 2, where we took apart all 4 of the arcs week to week. And then we did a couple special after shows with, we talked about the politics of Andor. We got some insight from various other podcasters. And then we had an episode where we took your calls and we talked about Andor season 2. So we're really proud of that little piece of podcastery, if that's a word. It is now. And go check that out if you are so inclined. If you loved Andor and you want to continue to think about it and talk about it, I can't stop thinking about it. I built the Andor U-Wing X Lego set today. That's what I did because it was 95 degrees out. And I said, I'm not going outside. I'm going to play with my Legos. So that's what I did.
As any responsible grown adult would.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So
Correct. Well, speaking of loving Andor and loving Star Wars, we can't do what we do, and it's evidenced by the fact that we came out of the intro video not on screen because we're bad at running the show by ourselves. We've seen her once already tonight, but our producer Kelsey is in the house. Kelsey, how are you? Thank you for being with us as always.
I'm doing pretty great. I don't know, like I'm ready to roast you guys like for like a billion different things, but like it's okay. Like let's
making it easy.
Yeah, like you guys
fruit.
like just opened it up and just made it like just like mistakes after mistakes. It's fine.
Yes. Well,
that's why you're here, and that's why the fabulous Chris Ryans is also here.
Hey,
Chris. Happy Thursday. What is up?
Hey, I heard earlier you guys talking like old man talk and whatnot. If we can continue that, because I'm also over 50. My back is killing me right now. It's my back, my knees.
Yes.
You know
the change of seasons, Chris. Every year, my knees they just get worse.
Oh, it's tough.
We just have to make it Star Wars relevant. Change from one season of a show to the next.
I used to dance. It's that jump off of stuff. Can you imagine jumping off of anything anymore?
It's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea.
It is really bad.
Really bad. Just thinking about
you guys are giving me like major Peter Pan syndrome. I'm like, I don't think I want to grow up ever.
No, you don't.
Right.
You absolutely do.
That's true.
If you get the chance to not,
highly recommend.
Stay forever young. You want to be forever young.
We are continuing the month of June or so. As we all can see, I have my June or so figure. I have my beer poured up. For any of you who are tuning in, for our guests who are hanging out in the background, this is a dumb tradition that started in the month of October with Snoketoberfest. Mm-hmm. We drop an action figure in a beer. We play a 10 to 15 second clip of an audio. It started with the Snoke. I have been every voice you've ever heard inside your head. And the goal is, as a part of your toast, you finish your beer before the audio clip is over. So it's become very punny. It is currently the month of June, so it is June or so, as Pete gets our audio clip ready. So what happens most of the time is I raise a toast, I chug this beer by myself, and everybody else just watches in horror at what an alcoholic I've become chugging these beers in 10 to 14 seconds. So there's only one real way to go tonight. It is Juneteenth, and so we're going to raise a celebratory toast to everyone who is celebrating Juneteenth. It is an important holiday. I'm so glad that it has become a federal holiday. Even here in the state of Alabama, it's a state holiday. It's important to celebrate these things throughout our history because our history is important, and it's important to remember important milestones. So I am raising our June or so toast tonight to Juneteenth. To everyone who's watching, happy Star Wars, and here we go.
Congratulations. You are being rescued.
He did it again.
Please do not resist.
Please do not resist.
I noticed you just took a little sip, you're just because I started to get embarrassed. I got called out by Clinton, and a couple times I was like, no, that I could not chug on Nick's level. So I don't know, the little sip seems like the way to go. I should do that next time.
Please go clean that figure.
No, I'm gonna leave it real moldy.
She's had a rough month, June.
She's still got a little beer foam, but that's okay.
Wait, so we have one more June, and then what's July? Do we know what July is yet? Have we planned that far in advance?
I think we do. In fact, I think that was another one that some of our friends in the Twitter group chat.
I feel like you sent a very good Patreon for July, but I don't know.
Did, and then I deleted my Twitter, so I'm not even in there anymore. So somebody will have to go retrieve it.
I can go do it.
That's right. We'll deal with that later.
All right. Well, hey, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to be joined by two of the three Threepios, and I'm really excited to talk to them. As Nick said, it's fun music, all Star Wars humor, so it should be a lot of fun. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more ATG Live.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability. ASU isn't just ahead of the curve, it's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Around the Galaxy and ATG Live are brought to you by Axiom Outpost, the place to buy any of your Star Wars needs or your G.I. Joe needs or He-Man or any of that stuff. Comics, figures, lightsabers, helmets, you name it. Go get it at broaxiomoutpost.com and use the code ATG10 for 10% off your first order. I love that joke. Okay, well, Nick, we are joined by a brand new to us. We just have discovered this band called the Threepios. They are a human cyborg musicians named Patrick, Savannah, and Ed, and together they celebrate a lifetime love of Star Wars by writing and performing original tribute songs, as well as parodies of classic pop, rock, and new wave tunes. It's so good that we can't even play their parodies because YouTube will say, hey, wait a minute, that's Flock of Seagulls. Their music is fun, it's clever, it's infectious in all the right ways. Before we bring them in, let's check out their single called She's in Love with the Dark Side.
She's in love with the Lord of the Sith. He's practicing free throw, but she's still crushing on him. Sharing spite of Tusken Raiders, killing up all of the haters, jumping into his TIE fighter to go for a ride. 'Cause she's in love with the dark side.
Well, welcome to the show, Patrick and Savannah of the Threepios. How you guys doing?
Hey, how are you?
Oh, so good, so good.
This is standing in for Ed.
Our Ed stand-in, yeah.
Love it. Love it. Well, we are so thrilled that you guys are here. We really are excited to get a chance to catch up and learn a little bit about your story. As a means of introducing yourselves, we're going to jump in this way. Introduce yourselves. Tell us what instrument you play and maybe how you would describe the Threepios as a band.
Okay. I'm Patrick. I play a little of everything, but live I play guitar and I sing.
Okay.
And I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, you write the songs.
I write the songs. That's the thing.
There you go. Okay.
Here's my little co-pilot, Beowulf.
Oh, nice.
Oh, look at that. Nice.
Very nice.
I'm Savannah. Hi. I play the keyboards. And
I did play all the bass on the recording too, I should mention.
Yeah,
Since you guys said you were bass players.
The boys are both multi-instrumentalists. So Ed plays guitar and bass and drums and violin, and Patrick plays all the instruments and
ukulele.
Not
much call for ukulele in Star Wars music.
Yeah.
Well, you never know.
Never know.
I've got keys and vibes and once in a while a harp, but I'm least versatile. And random percussion.
And vocals.
Yeah. But yeah, in any case, and how would I describe the Threepios?
Yes.
Premier Star Wars party band. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Love it.
I'll sort of say it like that. We've occasionally played club shows where they were expecting just sort of a traditional cover band, and people have been really amused and confused, and it's been really, really fun.
In equal measure.
We do things like, play Devo's Whip It, but it's Wicket, and things like that, and we're in the Star Wars costumes, and people kind of either really love it or really baffled, and it's kind of I really enjoy that.
We really enjoy mixing it up, like being able to play original songs and write original songs, but also be able to do parodies of just songs that we want to play that are fun to play, and just celebrate it by putting a Star Wars spin on it.
It's a fun way to do it because, as Nick and I said, we've both been in cover bands, and playing playing the real version of a song versus having some fun with it is it's more fun for us to do on stage, right? Rather than the same old.
Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
So how long have you guys been around? When did you guys form?
So the band formed on the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
So very recently, just in the last couple of years. But we were playing music before that. So actually the three of us have been playing music for quite a while in a band that does cartoon themes called the Shakeups. And after COVID, we sort of splintered off and decided to do this other thing.
The three of us were the three of us started playing together as the Resounding Maybes. So this is really funny. You said you were cover band guys. And the funny thing for me, I went to art school and I've only been in original bands. And I know that's kind of weird because you would normally have passed through a cover band
stage and then you move on to originals. Yeah.
Right.
But for some reason I was in an arty goth band. Kind of thing, playing shimmery key sounds, and I really enjoyed that. A very Cure sounding hullabaloo. But in any case, this has been a blast for me because I have never, haven't really had the occasion to get to learn covers. And when I did learn covers, when I was in other bands that learned covers, it was always often it was things that didn't have keys, like, oh, we're playing a Smashing Pumpkins song, it doesn't have keys, figure something out, Savannah. And I'd be like, oh, okay, fine.
There's a lot of fun 80s, especially key parts to learn,
Mm-hmm.
The problem is there's so many layers, so you have to choose what layer you're going to play live, because there's just so many parts.
I can play all the parts, and I do play all the parts on the recordings, but I can't play all of the parts at the same time sometimes because they're not designed like that. But dumb things like we learned I Never Want to Give You Up. This is the most ridiculous key line in the whole world. That terrible string, that
very cheesy
line.
thing.
Yeah. So at one point the three of us played in a Cure tribute band, to the Cure. And so that's where a couple of the parody songs started out. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
That was the first time I learned a bunch of covers, but these are goofy covers and like Everybody Wang Chung and stuff like that I had never learned before.
Yeah.
Cars songs.
What Cure song was it that had you stumped? Was it Why Can't I Be You? Where there's six
there's a horn
parts
part on Why Can't I Be You, and it's a multi-layer horn part, and I learned the whole thing. Right? Not only did I learn the whole thing, I figured out a really kludgy way to play it all at once. But it was very awkward.
And then I showed her a live clip of them playing it, where a guy is just playing it with one finger.
They don't play the lead part. They just play the and I'm here doing this
trying to do all the complicated parts.
Thing. And I'm like, I got it, I finally got it. And he calls me upstairs and shows me the the live show, and I'm like, I could have done that.
And there's some parts were clearly not recorded by a human being, like the things on Never Gonna Give You Up. That was all sequence music. Like there was no live musicians on that, I don't think at all.
Well, I figured out how to play the two parts.
So a lot of it too is taking a song that's sort of canned in that way and adding some life to it with real instruments too.
And it feels really silly too, because I think somebody asked why don't you just use a karaoke track if you're just gonna learn the whole thing? And I'm like, well, because we can't, because you changed the lyrics, so it's not actually the same.
It's not the same, yeah.
Parts aren't
Honestly, I really enjoy layering guitar parts when we record too. I just like figuring all those things and layering them in there. It's just fun.
It's been really fun and silly. So especially after being in a self-serious arty band, to do this was super silly.
Well, and I think it's really neat. And you've said the word fun multiple times because that's exactly what it is. And I think something that has stood out to me, discovering you guys, but seeing, and of course we live in a world in social media right now where you get all these other things that show up in your feed There's you guys. I saw recently there's the band that does the Mario Kart music live while people play Mario Kart at a bar. It's incredible. It also kind of reminds me, because it's so niche, and like you said, people showing up thinking it's a regular cover band, but you're there in costumes. Like we've got the Empire Strips Back, the burlesque, Star Wars show. Yes. Like there's this space for entertainment, because anybody can go see just a cover band at your local bar. But if you're nerds like we are, if you have this other specified interest, it becomes this whole other layer. And I'm sure there's, God knows there's probably Harry Potter cover bands and Lord of the Rings, whatever it is. Everything you want is out there.
They have their own genre, I believe, Harry Potter cover bands.
Yeah. So I think that I think it's so fun that you guys have found, this thing that certainly ties into clearly a love of Star Wars that you guys have on top of being musicians. So it's the best of all the worlds.
We've been a part of a lot of different fandoms, and like I said, we've done cartoon themes and some other kind of stuff. I'm in a Star Trek band actually also, but
what are they called?
Star Wars was my first fandom, so this is special for me for that reason.
Yeah, we had not a marital conflict exactly, but when I met him, he was in a Star Trek band, and I was helping run a Star Trek convention, and he was wearing a Kirk outfit when I met him, and then on one of our first few dates, he said, "Actually, honestly, my heart is really with Star Wars," and we had like a fake fight about it, where I'm like, I don't
think it's gonna work out.
But no, it was. And now I'm dressed as Princess Leia, and I'm
any story that starts with "I met him and he was wearing a Captain Kirk uniform." That just goes to its own place. It has some fun. That's great.
It was the special green Kirk uniform that you only wear in select episodes, like on Laundry Day. So if that helps at all, it's the more rare Kirk uniform.
I've been in a Star Trek collectible card game tournament, and I gotten kicked out. My friend took me to go see a band to cheer me up.
And was it his band?
It was his band. That's how I met.
Surprise!
Fantastic.
How did you get kicked out? How did you get kicked out of a collectible card game?
I didn't get kicked out. I lost.
Oh, okay.
I lost. I lost.
It was the hand you were dealt.
Yeah.
I see. So
actually, I lost in a funny way. My deck was a deck of the Valkyries. It was all the great women of Star Trek, and I went up against. I went up to somebody who had a bunch of male love interests in there, which was like a card that you can play against a female character, and they fall in love and they like go off with this. This person just happened to have a bunch of those, and I had all women on my whole deck, and so like all of my women just went gaga for these guys and wandered off.
How do you have a whole deck full of Kirks? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot of himbos in that deck, and it's ruined. But
so what are you gonna do?
I'm just enthralled with all this madness. But let me just add. So, at what point did you decide? You know what? I mean, I know you said you did it during the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, but what made you? I mean, you were coming. I guess was it the Star Trek band that made you decide to go this direction, or was it just
the Star Trek band had some openings in our schedule? Like we had been doing a lot, and I suddenly had some free time was the main thing. And I'd been wanting to do it for a long time. And I think part of it is just that we've been playing original music so much, and I had never really worked on any parody songs. And I just suddenly thought, why haven't I worked on any parody songs? So I thought I'd give it a try. So I wrote, the first one was Force Choke, which was the Genesis song Invisible Touch.
And so he was just originally just playing them to amuse Ed and I.
Yeah.
Ed is really into Ed's a really big Star Wars fan, and he's read all of the extended universe stuff and whatnot. And to be fair, I also love Star Wars, and Princess Leia was my hero, and whole hullabaloo. So we all talk about it, and we watch way too, exactly like you guys. You guys are totally our people that just sit around, constantly and pick apart the media that we love in the same way.
Speaking of, we had a suggestion for you for July.
Oh, okay.
Yes, please.
July Jar Binks.
That's it. Done.
That's it. It's
done. Yep. Done. Got it. Marking it down.
It's a good idea.
That is
Sweet.
Chris. Are you writing it down?
I can't wait to get Chris. Yes, I am. I can't wait to get Chris's thoughts on July Jar Binks. That's
Chris,
it.
on July Jar Binks.
That's good.
Yeah.
What did you?
I don't know. You just roll your eyes at my silly drinking games. Period. So
I mean, it's very unsanitary.
I wonder what Vader thinks.
It actually said maybe.
Oh, yeah, we have
real good way to get sick.
They're gonna appreciate it. It started with Oktoberfest and Snoketoberfest. We also did Snokevember because we couldn't get away from Snoke. December is actually Darthcember, so we do have a Darth drinking month.
That's
January.
nice.
January was Jan Dodanuary for General Jan Dodonna. February was Boba Fettuary. March was Imperial March. Awesome. April was Dr. Afrel for Dr. Afra. And then May was
Millennium Falcon.
Oh, the Millennium Falcon. That's right.
That's great.
So, yeah. So this guy, he was right here still on my desk. And then we're in June or so, but July Jar Binks, we're in.
Make
Love that, Vader.
I think he's done.
Is he done? He shot discs.
You've activated.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water. But you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
I want to ask this question because you are clearly Star Wars fans. There's such a great collection in the background behind you. Give me a quick version of each of your Star Wars origin story. That's something we talk a lot about on this show. We all come from, different backgrounds, different places. I'll start with Savannah. Savannah, where did Star Wars start for you? What was your origin story?
Okay. So the first, this really backwards, but Return of the Jedi was the first film that I saw when they brought it back out into theaters. So that was the first one I went to go see, and I had such a good time, but I also, even watching it and listening to people complain about how much they didn't like. So I'm sitting there in the theater listening to people complain about how much they didn't like the changes.
Mm-hmm.
And
you decided that you absolutely loved the Ewoks more than anything.
I did love the Ewoks with all my heart, but I also was critical enough, even in my youth, to hear that how people had complained about the changes being made, and this made me very curious to find out what had changed and to make a comparison. So I immediately went from there. I left the theater, went to the video store, and got the older VHSs so that I could go home. And then, so I watched them both in one day. So thus was my desire to be like, oh, what were they talking about? That's so interesting. So I go back. And so then, of course, I watched the one I had just seen, and then I started from the beginning. So I basically watched, 9 hours of Star Wars that day.
The best 9 hours of your life.
No.
I was going to say, that automatically makes you one of us.
It was like 12 hours when it was all done. I think it was a Saturday, and I didn't finish. I finished one of them like the next day. Right. But so the point was, over the course of that weekend, I watched 12 hours of Star Wars, and I was quite enchanted. And in particular, I adored, of course, Princess Leia. Thought Han was cute. Thought everything was great. But I just was enchanted with just how ballsy she was and how excellent. I was previously a really big, because of irresponsible, supervision, I managed to watch the Alien movies starting when I was about 8. As you do. And so I loved Ripley, and that was like the only thing close to that I'd ever seen. That was maybe the only other character that kind of had that sort of chutzpah about them. And it was it was just a big deal, and I really loved it. So
I think that's amazing. And as somebody who has a wife and 4 daughters, I am fully in favor of people who love strong female characters. So you were on the right path from the beginning, and you kept charging on down it. So that totally works. Yeah. Patrick, what about you? What is your Star Wars origin story?
Well, I'm a toy collector, but I first got into the toys, I think. This was way back when the Kenner toys first came out. I was at a friend's house, and he had the Death Star play set, and I'd never seen the movie. Only the first movie was out at that point. But they had all those cool side characters like Hammerhead and, the Cantina and Greedo and all those guys. And I loved the little Jawa figure, and his favorite was Snaggletooth. So they just went on adventures, and it was pretty funny. And then I saw Empire Strikes Back as soon as it came out, and I was just obsessed from that point on. So
I love that.
Yeah. And then so in the, I was always a fan, but then I sort of got back into it in maybe the mid 90s or so. And I went all over town looking for a nice VHS copy of the original trilogy. It was right before the special editions came out, so you couldn't find it anywhere. I was just looking for a nice letterbox version of it. And I went to a dozen local stores before I found one. I even went to a Blockbuster Video, and the guy asked me, why would you want something with the bars on the screen like that? Back before we had HD.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You worked at a video store, dude.
I like how similar our experiences were, because you see sort of the picky nerdiness of it, of being all I want the other it's not enough that I saw it. I want to see the other version. I want
all of it. Yeah.
I want more information.
I believe Ed did see A New Hope first, though. So we've each started with a different movie.
Look at that. That's cool.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Yeah. Well, hey, before we go to our news segment, I want to ask you guys one more question. Sure. Nick and I had found, and you guys are going to stick around for the news, which is going to be a lot of fun. We do this sort of around. I don't know if you watch Around the Horn or when it was on, but we give out points. We just mock it, and we just have a lot of good time. But my question for you is, Nick and I have found in the couple of years we've been doing this, and all the years that we've been doing podcasting, that there's some connection between Star Wars and musicians, whether it's people we've interviewed, and we felt like when Greg Grunberg was on the show and he's sitting there in front of his drum set, and a couple podcasters. There's a podcast called the Thank the Maker podcast, which is guys from from
Bayside, Yellow Card, and Story of the Year.
Story of the Year, right? So and then we'll just talk to people, and we'll find out they're musicians. So what, in your opinion, or what do you think is that connection between Star Wars and musicians? What is it that draws those two together?
It has the best. The John Williams theme is the most identifiable musical hook of anything that I can think of. And that's the first thing you hear. Before anything starts, before you see a character, you hear that theme. And I think that's just hooks people.
Yeah. And then that was absolutely, before you even finished asking the question, my first thought too was John Williams is the heart and the soul and the life's blood of Star Wars. Everybody says that the screenings of Star Wars before the soundtrack was on it, where people were like, I'm not so sure. That really, it tells you.
It ramps up the excitement.
It tells you where to feel.
That scene where Luke is just staring off into the Tatooine suns, with that theme swelling behind him. I really wish they had a theme like that for Anakin and Padme, and getting better with a montage without the dialogue. Just have the theme playing.
Williams wrote a beautiful love scene.
No, it was great. It was great. I'm just saying they could have done less dialogue and more music, and it would have worked great.
Theory about that.
I feel like there's some commentary in there as well.
And I love
was force suggestion. Force suggested that she didn't actually fall in love with and the only explanation for why she would fall in love with Anakin that he mind swirled her on accident
because he was just so powerful. He didn't even realize that he was doing it.
And I love, and this is the most tangential thing I can throw into this. I love that your answer was both John Williams and how it connected, because one of my favorite kind of random inane bits of trivia is that John Williams' son is the lead singer of the band Toto, and I think that's just the best thing in the world.
Yes,
Like
who did the soundtrack for Dune, the original?
Who did the soundtrack? Yes, the original Dune soundtrack. Joseph Williams is the lead singer of the band Toto, and it just layers upon layers of Star Wars and nerdiness and music and rock and roll. So
also, who can forget the Cantina Band? I mean, those guys. Even if you didn't want to be in a band, when you saw those guys playing, you wanted to be in that band, right?
Yeah, it didn't matter. Yep. Even if their faces freaked you out, you were into it.
My son calls them the buttheads to this day because they're. But awesome. Well, cool. Well, it's been great getting to know where you guys come from musically. And again, so before we take our break, tell people where they can find your music and where they can check it all out.
Yeah. Yes. So the threepios.bandcamp.com. We have physical media as well. You mentioned that you didn't see cassettes anymore. This is not an actual cassette, but it looks like one.
It's actually a cassette USB.
Oh,
look at that.
Okay, see, now that's cool. That's
phenomenal.
So we do have these.
And we do have a limited edition vinyl as well.
Oh, nice.
And I'm going to have to order this. And I have to say the thing, I found you guys on Facebook and my Facebook algorithm was earning its paycheck the day that I found you, because the thing that showed up in my feed was that cover with the pink and the droids and the vacuum cleaner. And I went, I don't know what this is, but I love it. And so I absolutely need to order that vinyl and add it to my collection to be in my background back here because it's outstanding. So I'm going to do that.
I took that photo on our stove. That is a pink tablecloth with actual action figures and Barbie accessories that I spray painted and painted to look like
incredible.
Three imaginary boys cover.
Right.
If there's a target audience for it, I'm the target audience. Like nailed it.
I'm so glad you get the joke. But
we want to do a new one with band instruments with the same figures. Yeah. See if we get around to that.
An A/B test, if you will.
I'm very happy it brought you joy. I'm so glad. And it's how weird to have that joke and think that that's amusing and giggle about that with your friends in your basement and then put it on the internet and to find anybody else who also would find amused by it. That makes me so happy.
It's the will of the force. That's what we're going to go with.
That's right.
Brought it all right together.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to get to the news of the week, and the Threepios are going to be hanging out with us. So we'll be back in just a minute with more ATG Live.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water. But you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Well, it's time to go around the galaxy again. Welcome to the segment where our producer, Kelsey, clearly the most powerful being in the galaxy, selects this week's most overhyped Star Wars news from our website and forces a panel of organic life forms to argue about it. Loudly. For points. That she gives out. However she wants. This makes no sense to me at all. This week's special guest will also join the chaos, pretending that their opinions matter, while Kelsey quietly calculates who lives, who dies, and who gets muted. And at the end, the so-called winner gets 60 seconds of uninterrupted airtime, because that's what this show needs. More talking. So, hold on to your motivator and brace for impact. This is Around the Galaxy. Do I have to say it? Do I really? Roger, Roger.
Well, welcome to ATG Around the Horn, or whatever we call it. We call it Around the Galaxy because, the show ATG means Around the Galaxy and Around the Horn, which was a show that we absolutely loved, and our good friend Clinton Yates, who's been on the show a number of times, and of course Kelsey with her experience at ESPN. It all makes sense. It's all coming together. We're doing it here. The points don't matter until the very end when the winner gets to talk for 60 seconds about whatever they want to talk about. So let me turn it over to the Inquisitor, our very own Kelsey Puckett. Kelsey, what's up? You're muted. You are muted. Okay, you're muted. You're okay. See, it's not just us, Kels. It's not just us.
This is not okay. This is not okay.
Can the Inquisitor start with minus points? Is that possible?
That's right. Take some points away from the Inquisitor.
You pump me up with like that little intro video and then like keep me muted. It's like I want to. You know what? I did mute myself. I wanted to blame you. That was my bad. I'm sorry.
All right. Let's do it.
But no, I'm going to stick with you, Pete, with our first question.
Sure.
We're going to get to this last week, but Andor topped the charts at #1 on Nielsen's streaming ratings, with Disney and Lucasfilm looking to pivot from using its legacy characters in television shows. Do you think that the success will make them rethink this strategy?
So you're asking if you think they are going to go for legacy characters or start making up some of their own, or going with newer characters or individual characters. I don't know. I think the wise move, honestly, is to continue to go with either sort of side characters or smaller characters or background characters, because it's a lower chance of pissing people off. If you tell a Luke Skywalker story, everybody has had their own sort of mindset. What did Luke do between movies? Where is Luke going? What do I expect him to do? Well, if I don't tell the Luke story and you tell me a story about whoever, I think it gives it a little bit more flexibility and much more chance of success. And I think that's also why people fell in love with the side characters in Andor.
All right. What do you think, Chris?
What I would love for Disney to do, or Lucasfilm to do, and I'm going to sound like a broken record when I say this, but I would love for them to make animated features from the comic book stories that are out there. Those are some great stories that will. If you want some good straight up Star Wars stories, if you like a certain style or whatever, these comic books have it all handled. The stories are right there. The storyboards are right there. They need to do that.
That's a cool concept. Love it.
Threepios, you guys have any opinions on this?
I like how they include legacy characters sparingly. Like, I mean, having Luke show up at the end of Mandalorian season 2 was just perfect, or Darth Vader in Rogue One, those are great. But there's so many stories they can tell from across the galaxy. I personally liked the animated Visions show. And I thought that almost any one of those shorts could have just been developed into its own story, continuing story. So, yeah, I think at this point they've filled in a lot of the gaps from the originals, and it just makes sense to move on with new ideas and new stories.
The answer is within the question, in a sense. You said if would the success of Andor cause them to do something differently about how they handle legacy characters? I would think that the success of Andor just gives them a blueprint, which is exactly what I think almost everybody else said, which is that the answer is balance, which is what was Andor anyway? What was Rogue One anyway? It was the side story that incorporated some legacy elements, but mostly the core of it was original characters and a new story. So, I mean, I think that will cause them to hopefully keep doing that.
Got some good knowledge there. What do you think, Nick? You want to take us home?
I will try my best. And usually this game is a lot more fun if one of us has a weird, different opinion and we can argue. This isn't the question for that, because here's the reality. If you look at it by the numbers, 931 million minutes for Andor Season 2 in streaming. I don't even know how that completely works. That's a lot of minutes. 4 consecutive weeks of setting records for streaming for this show, not to mention this tangential connection to Rogue One. Brought Rogue One up to 9th place in the listing and streaming for movies with 179 million minutes. take something so tiny and minuscule and go, hey, let's make a story out of that, and it goes gangbusters like this, like there's so many other stories out there that, you know, we've made books out of it with the certain point of view stories. Like, let's make some of those into stories or shows or develop characters. So this is a formula that absolutely works. And I think what Pete said up top is the thing. If it's a Luke story, if it's a Han story, everybody has a preconceived understanding or thought in their head or their head canon of who Han Solo is, of who Luke Skywalker is, so that we have expectations. Even if we're more of the level-headed fans, like I think we all are, there's a moment where you go, that wasn't what I wanted it to be. I didn't know who Cassian Andor was. I didn't know who Jyn Erso was. So this gave me the opportunity to go, holy crap, it's new. Give it to me. So I think this is a great, great way to go. And I hope that they find the opportunity to do more of these kinds of stories.
Fair enough. I feel like that was a great way to send us home on that.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water. But you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
So fans have long complained about George Lucas tinkering with his movies. A screening by the British Film Institute gave viewers a chance to see the original Star Wars film as it first appeared before any of Lucas's edits. They came away stunned by how terrible it looks. So this begs the question. I'm going to go with Nick. You're on the screen right now. Was George Lucas right?
So here's the thing. This is a, how do you make this comparison when so many things have changed over such a long period of time? We didn't have 4K. We didn't have HD. We didn't have all these things in 1977 before the special editions, before all of this happened. I have right here on my desk a treasured USB drive that has the despecialized editions of the 3 original movies. And I just keep it on my desk because if I ever want to watch those, I can. But even on my MacBook, which is several years old, it's not going to look as good. We've a little bit forgotten what it looked like because guess what? At that time, nothing looked like that. And that's what made it special. This was a new thing. But guess what? Technology changes. The prequels look different, and there's a reason for that. The stuff we're getting now on the volume and HD and 4K and whatever the next thing's going to be on a TV that I don't already own, there's so much stuff there. Yeah, it's going to look different. And I don't think we should be surprised about that. And I do think that the challenge is with George Lucas saying, no, the 04 version is his definitive version. Okay, that's great. He made it. Let him do what he wants. Let him say what he wants.
Chris, you have any thoughts on this one?
I have, like Nick, I have both the despecialized version and I have the special edition version. I don't watch the despecialized version. If it's you know, if this is Lucas's vision of this is what he you know envisions for Star Wars and wants it to be, and this is what his final vision is, or as close to final as it can get, I will prefer that. I will defer to that. I know people complain about him tinkering with it and whatnot, but I'm like, it's his. He can do what he wants with it, and if the creator says this is what it is, this is what it should be, who am I to complain? Just, as I always say, just give me.
Fair enough. Any thoughts, 3POs?
I mean,
we have this despecialized.
We do have, yeah. I actually always watch the despecialized.
We usually, I'd say I usually watch the despecialized.
He did a lot of great technical things to make it look and sound spectacular. But I think working on a creative project as someone who does a lot of recording and layering of sounds and all that kind of thing, it can be difficult when you're in the chair doing it to know how much is enough, when you should stop, or when you want to keep going.
So the nice thing about him being in a band is we can make him stop. Nobody can make him stop.
That's right.
Nobody can make him stop.
And
he became a special effects man.
Yeah.
And though I think people are unkind to him in general about what did he do between Star Wars and the special editions, he built wonderful, amazing companies that did visual effects.
Incredible.
And that was his life's blood and what he did. And he's brilliant at it. He was brilliant at it. He pushed the envelopes and all of those things. And so then he went to touch his movies again as a special effects man and as a man who was interested in that. And sometimes he might have, I mean, everybody knows that the technology wasn't really there to pull off Jar Jar.
Right.
But it would never have gotten there if he hadn't done it. You know what I mean? Like, he was there pushing the envelope, trying to do something that technology couldn't do yet. And that's what he's done his whole career. And that's amazing. The despecialized look bad because he was trying to do things that couldn't be done yet. Yeah. And that's ambitious and amazing. And then
there's a lot of really important things they did do, though, like adding in the Palpatine we know into Empire Strikes Back, for instance. I mean, those kinds of things, the connecting bits, like, those are important to have in there.
That's why I kind of can't decide, and I kind of like to watch both, and it kind of depends on my mood.
But we have to all agree we didn't need Jabba in the landing bay in Star Wars in 1977.
Well, of course
we didn't need that.
But that was the original vision, and he wanted to.
It pretty much just repeats what we already heard in the Greedos scene, and it kind of messes up the pacing a little bit. But
sometimes,
it's still cool to see.
Sometimes he just wants, it's kind of science rather than art. He wants to see if he can do it,
right?
Whether or not, as they say in Jurassic Park, whether or not he should.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's good to have a person there to tell you when you have enough and when you should stop.
But if somebody had told him to stop, on the other hand, then he wouldn't.
He might not have done some of the other great things he did.
Push the envelope of technology. We wouldn't have had Jurassic Park, for example, if it weren't for Lucasfilm. We wouldn't have had things that we had later that were beautiful because he made artistically questionable but technologically important and innovative decisions.
For sure.
All right, there's some fair points there, but Pete, do you want to take us home on this subject?
I like what you said, quoting Malcolm from Jurassic Park. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Look, I think honestly, the reason the original print of Star Wars looks like crap is because it's a different movie at this point, right? It's gone through so many changes. It is that original vision. It is that original thought, but it's a different type of movie now. I think it has a place. I probably wouldn't watch it because, I always remember in my head, Hellraiser was a great, scary, disturbing movie. And then I watched it again a couple of years ago and I was like, wow, that is awful. And I think Star Wars in 1977 without A New Hope on it, I think that's still where it is. But it's a different movie, and you'll watch it for different reasons, I think. So
it's the movie that made history, right? So
sure, yeah.
For cultural reasons, that's good enough for it to be shown again.
Yep.
All right. Well, moving on. Han Solo returns to action in a new comic series set to explore a pivotal missing chapter in his life between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with Chris. Are you interested in this character enough to check out this storyline?
Kelsey, you've met me, right?
Well, I mean, occasionally.
I can't wait. This concept, or I'm sorry, where it's set looks, I'm glad that they're doing this because that is fertile ground for Star Wars storytelling, which is it's an older Han Solo, it's an older Lando. Chewie doesn't age, so that doesn't really count. But this is maybe, I think it's 10, maybe 15 years, maybe 20 after the events of Return of the Jedi. So I'm glad that they're doing this. A lot more of this needs to be done. A lot more of this era of Star Wars needs to be fleshed out. And that will definitely help them going forward, with the Starfighter era and whatnot. So yes, I'm very excited for this book. I'll definitely be covering that when it comes out in September. So yeah, I'm happy for it.
That's exciting. Nick, you got any thoughts?
I do. And I'm going to say the most surprising thing that Chris Ryans has heard all day today, because for Patrick and Savannah, Pete and I are notoriously bad at comic books, and Chris is a dedicated comic books guy. Mm-hmm. We throw a lot of shade. We like to have fun with it. I am absolutely 100% excited to read these. I wrote it on my notes right here for Chris. I will read this in all capital letters.
Sure thing.
I am going to read this. It's a Force Awakens story, or it's a Force Awakens adjacent story, because you get the Kane, you get the Irvin boys, the people who, who had the Falcon when Rey, is getting it from Unkar Plutt and all that.
Yeah.
The other thing I'm excited about, and this kind of ties back to Podathon last year, even though it didn't work out, this is a Rodney Barnes story. And I'm excited to hear what Rodney Barnes is going to do, because I did some research before he was supposed to be a part of Podathon and what he worked on and did.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to dig into these. So, Chris, I'm going to be hitting up Bro Axiom Outpost. I'm going to set up an order. I want the copies, the physical copies, and I'm going to add them in my collection. I'm going to read them. And I'm not a comics guy, but this is a story I am truly excited to.
You should read Inquisitors by Rodney Barnes.
Okay.
It was really good.
Okay.
It's really good.
On your recommendation, 100% will do that.
Go to broaxiom.com and use.
I don't have them. I don't have those in stock right now. But still, go there and get.
Pre-order
do it anyhow.
Pre-order the Han Solo books at least. Yes. And use code ATG10. Get 10% off your first order.
3POs, are you guys comic book fans at all?
I am.
On and off.
But I haven't read a lot of Star Wars comics, honestly.
I started with the Star Wars comics from Marvel back in the day.
Yeah. So I definitely would check it out. I'm kind of interested in that. I think, like they said, it's a fertile space.
Well, and Han is just an endlessly entertaining character. Like he's, I'm wearing my Solo shirt.
He has a shirt that's guitar solo.
Guitar solo. That's great.
I would, anything with Han in it has got to be worth checking out.
I definitely would like to know more about the disillusion of the Han Solo Princess Leia romance.
I wonder if they're going to have the scene where his wife shows up.
That whole thing. But yeah, I would check it out. I care. I'm a painter. I care what the art looks like. So I guess I would also figure out who the illustrator
probably depends on that too.
That makes a big difference to me. I'm sure Ed will read it.
Oh, yeah.
Ed actually makes a comic.
Right.
He's a comic book writer.
We will defer to him. If he tells us it's good, we'll definitely read it.
I'll borrow them from him because he'll have them before anybody.
Pete, what about you?
Oh, look, I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to read it. I mean, of course it's not.
Being real. You for being honest, unlike your partner.
No, I mean, look, it sounds like a really cool story, and this is where, Chris, I'm with you. There are
I didn't press it this time.
There are a lot of really cool. Oh, I lost points. There's a lot of cool stories in the comics, and I'm with you, Chris. You know what? Make some cool animated shows out of them, and also, if you think about the hierarchy of what people will watch and take part in, let's be very realistic here for a minute. I got to put comics at the bottom because that's a very niche group. Then you got books. Then you have animated shows, and those two may even swap depending on what it is. Then you got your television, and then you got your movies. So the only way you're going to get a lot of those really cool and important comic stories back to in front of people is to make them watchable. You know what I mean?
If you want eyes on, if you want to see more stuff with Luke and how like his journey goes, and Leia and Han and Lando and Chewie and everyone. These stories these canon Star Wars main run stories are superb, and will definitely from reading these comics when it came to Last Jedi, I wasn't surprised that this was Luke's the way he was going to be.
Right.
They really helped to shape out this these characters. So yeah, I think doing an animated feature of any of those or all of them would be fantastic.
I gotta say, just the fact that like our most like verbose participant and like the dude that like writes like 1 billion words online is the one that doesn't want to read the Star Wars comics. I'm like, there's just something wrong mentally here with you. I'm just dumbfounded by this. I'm like, hold on. You're the one that hates words? Okay.
It's not that I hate words, but maybe don't like pictures. I don't know. Yeah, that's fair.
He's done. Provoked.
All right, well,
get him out of here.
I'm just going to keep you on the screen. You're going to have to answer this next one, even though, like, apparently you hate Star Wars and words.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water. But you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time for water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
So during the aforementioned BFI screening, Kathleen Kennedy revealed a shift in the studio's creative direction. They're going to be moving away from traditional trilogies in favor of more standalone stories. Do you think this is a good move for Lucasfilm, and why?
I think it's a great idea because it takes the pressure off of one movie having to deliver for another. It also make sure that we're closing out stories. My most frustrating thing with anything on streaming, whether it's Star Wars or, I mean, I was so pissed at the House of the Dragon series, which was basically an 8-episode trailer for season 3. Nothing came to a close. So give me a movie that works on its own from beginning to end. And if it's worthy of a sequel, give it a sequel. Don't plan for trilogies. Work your way through it. Deliver a full story, and do what's best for the medium. Movies should be, when you walk out of a movie theater, you should be satisfied with the story you saw. So yes, stick with the singles for me. Thank you.
Roger. I really hate that you had like great points there. I did not want to continue rewarding you. But, go ahead, Threepios.
I mean, I don't disagree with anything that you said, but I would expand on that to say simply the main thing is having a good director, producer, writer combo team that can helm a movie. I don't care if they did a trilogy or if they did a single movie, whatever you could get the talent to commit to finish the whole story. So, I mean, that was, where the sequel trilogy got into trouble was that you didn't have one person that could commit to all 3 of them to do the whole thing together. So
I'm still waiting for Solo 2.
Whatever you can get somebody to commit to. And if that means that's the safer thing then is you get the good talent that can really helm it. Right. Because you don't want something done by committee. You really want a strong central figure. You want, if that's a director, or that's a producer, or a combo, or what have you. Like the creative force behind the movie should put a stamp on the movie. It should look different. It should feel different. It should be a whole story. And whatever you can get those people to commit to finish a story, do that.
The best shows are that way because they have a central creative force that's driving the project. Exactly. Yeah.
That Mandalorian story is his baby, and he's in it. And
you can just picture him playing with his toys, deciding what's going to happen in the next episode.
Playing, I tell you, he watched Lone Wolf and
Lone Wolf
too many times, and did that whole thing. Yeah. Like that has the stamp of a person, a stamp of a single creative mind. And I think when Star Wars fails is when it loses that, and when it succeeds is when somebody, a person, a creative person, is there owning it. Mm-hmm. So whatever bite-sized, it could be as small a bite-sized chunk as it needs to be to make sure that it has that force and doesn't lose it.
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Chris, do you have any thoughts on the subject?
Yeah, it's this is an enormous galaxy, and one of the largest. Star Wars has a wide berth of different storytelling styles and things like that. So a single story within, absolutely. I'm a comic fan, so there are some single issues, one-shot books and things like that. You get like these single stories. Solo was a perfect example of why single story movies would work for the Star Wars franchise, where you can do that many stories over that many different mediums. Yeah, and not everything has to be a trilogy. It's wide enough, it's huge enough, and well known enough that people will, for the most part, get what's going on and be able to connect with the characters and the story that they're telling.
What do you think, Nick?
So I also think that this is a good idea, and I think the biggest thing for me is there's a lot of talent that has been connected to Star Wars, certainly in the last 5, 6, 7 years when we get announcements of, oh, there's going to be a Taika Waititi movie. Oh, there's going to be a Rian Johnson trilogy, which, I mean, give it to me. The James Mangold movie, Benioff and Weiss from Game of Thrones. Like, there's all these people that have been connected to the possibility of doing something in Star Wars. The way the we all get these things when they show up. What we don't remember is that it takes 2 and 3 years to produce them, film them, edit them, get them out there. It's a huge commitment. Like what Tony Gilroy has committed to over these last couple of years with Andor seasons 1 and 2 is phenomenal. Right. And there's a reason why when they originally said, oh, it's going to be 5 seasons and each season's going to be a year leading up to Rogue One, that's crazy talk. Like that's 5 years of TV. That's 10 or 12 years of production and all that. So when we take trilogies out of the equation, I think it does a couple of things. One, it opens up the possibility to have some of these amazing creators involved, which is going to enrich the stories that Star Wars tells. The other thing I think it does, besides involvement without tying up long term and being able to go, hey, Rian Johnson's got an idea for a 4th, Glass Onion movie, but he can fit that in between doing the Star Wars thing, is it also allows us to get different kinds of stories. We've talked about Visions. We've talked about Andor, which is high politics, drama. I talk about every week. It's behind me on my Stormtrooper. It's my West Wing Star Wars. We have the opportunity to have different creators bring us different kinds of Star Wars without going, well, we need 3 crazy, silly Taika Waititi Star Wars movies. If he does one tag and bink thing and we move on, awesome. Let's do that. If we get, Rian Johnson doing another something, that's awesome. It doesn't have to be tied to, well, what are the other 2 going to be? So to me, this adds to the ability to get a bunch of stuff that covers a lot of territory and has the ability, like we said, kind of at the top of this whole news thing, to not be tied to Luke or Han or Leia or Chewie, but spread it out because, as we say, it's a big-ass galaxy. There's a lot of Star Wars out there.
Yep, for sure.
That was a great point, Nick. But I think as I'm looking at the final total, I think the Threepios are winners here around the galaxy. So you guys have the platform. What do you guys got going on? You can promote yourself for 60 seconds.
Anything you want.
My goodness. We've played a lot of shows recently. We're kind of on a break right now, but we have Gen Con coming up at the beginning of August, which is the biggest local convention that we have here in Indianapolis. It's like the 3rd biggest pop culture convention in the U.S.
After San Diego Comic-Con and Dragon Con. So it's the biggest one in the Midwest. So Gen Con is a gaming convention, originally started by Wizards of the Coast. So if anybody's going to be in town for Gen Con, because,
we will be there.
many thousands of people will be here.
We had sort of a record crowd last year, actually. So we're really excited about this one.
Hope if anybody is going to be there, check out our website.
And then later in the year, we also have Starbase Indie, which is our local Star Trek convention, which we're playing.
Play Star Wars music.
And we're also doing a Star Wars versus Star Trek show September 12th.
Yeah, and we played with a Klingon Pop Warrior. Star Wars versus
Klingon Pop Warrior actually guested on her new album.
So her new album, she did Love Shack. She did.
So our parody of Love Shack. It's called Do Back.
And
so she and I switched off.
It's fantastic. If you just a shout out to my friend Jen Boom, who is the Klingon Pop Warrior. She does.
We love you, Jen.
She does she does straight translations of pop songs into
Klingon.
Yeah. She's a linguist, so she has like the official. She has official translations. So on the record at Disney, for example, the song from Frozen, she has the official Klingon language translation That's cool. And so on and so forth. So that is what she does. And we did a battle of the bands with her where we fought lightsaber against Batleth and played back and forth. So that's something we did recently. But we're on Bandcamp.
Threepios.bandcamp.com.
Yeah.
And we're on all the social medias.
All the things.
Feel free to say hi.
Yeah, we just do it for the love and for the fun. And
that's what it's all about. That's great. Well, I'm really glad. Yes, thank you so much. And I'm really glad that Nick discovered you. Like I said, I've been listening to you on Spotify, and I'm really excited. So it's so you'll get your 0.003 cents from me, which is very I'm sure. But now now that I'm familiar with the Bandcamp stuff, I'm gonna have to I'll order something physical from you guys. And if you're watching or listening, you should do it too. Go check out the Threepios. And you just heard a taste of it, but you'll also be able to find links in the description below, whether you're listening in the podcast next week or you're checking this out on the replay. So thank you so much. So speaking of next week, we are up in the air as to whether or not we're going to do a show next week. Nick is traveling, and I'm not sure what we're going to do. I haven't talked to Kelsey and Chris yet, so we'll figure that out. We may or may be back, may or may not be back next week, but we'll be certainly back the week after for July Jar Binks. I can't wait for it's brilliant.
Yep.
Brilliant.
It's happening.
Glad we decided on that.
Yes, if we got
it's happening. And if you want, Pete, I don't know what y'all are going to do next week. I mean, obviously I'm gone and you can't handle things without me, so good luck. Figure it out.
True. It's true.
But I do know that the week after is Thursday, July the 3rd. It's right before Independence Day. And we are scheduled to have my good friend Alexis Sterling, who is the wife of Mari Sterling. Mari has been on with us several times. If you have ever watched the TV show Homeland, Mari played Max in Homeland. Mari's wife, Alexis, went to high school with my wife here in Alabama. They both live out in LA. She is an actress herself, but she is a huge Star Wars fan. And she and I have kind of been playing phone tag for a long time, trying to get her on the show. And we were talking a couple weeks ago, and she's like, actually, I'm kind of available in July. So we're excited to welcome on July 3rd. Alexis Sterling is going to join us. And whatever y'all do next week, it'll be awesome. Probably better because I'm not here messing things up.
No, it's we'll figure that whole bit out. And but no, that'll be great. So, Chris, what anything new coming in the Broaxium Outpost?
Lot of comics, new comics. I have some hardcovers that I got in, just some more back stock and things like that. We've got those set runs of comics. We have these new mystery packs that are 5 random issues of different eras of Star Wars storytelling into one pack for $14.99, on sale right now for $11.99.
Nice. Go check that out. Nick, we won't see you next week, but may the Force be with you.
Always.
Just one more round, friend, then homeward bound, friend. Don't forget me in your dreams. Just one more song, friend, and then so long, friend. The nights get shorter, it seems. Just one more rhyme, friend. Yes, it's a crime, friend. But you know time, friend. Time can fly. So it's good night, friend. Good night, but not goodbye.
Having a life scholarship and being able to afford to go to college made me feel inspired to go.
When I got a life scholarship, it was such a relief.
I knew that I wanted to have an impact. Having a life scholarship through the SC Education Lottery was huge. It gave me the opportunity to make that impact right here at home.
The South Carolina Education Lottery. A better you, a better us, a better South Carolina. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.